There's a term that's originated called KYA. Now, you probably heard of KYC, know your customer. Now, there's a new term called know your agent to make sure that it's actually verified. We just talked about that use case with Haley, and they would have tiered credentials and they would have the capabilities to conduct tasks. What kind of tasks? Access your email, access your calendar, access your credit card, access your bank account, access your Visa, or anything that's your Amazon account, whatever's really important to you to complete transactions. So we need to make sure that there's security and trust.
10,
7, 6,
4, 3, 2.
Today's episode, we're going to dive into the biggest shifts unfolding in the space. AI agents, also known as agentic, are intelligent, goal-driven agents that don't just follow instructions, they take initiatives. These aren't just tools anymore, they're co-creators, co-collaborators, and they're going to be our future in business. So with that, let me introduce our speaker, Jeremiah, who's going to deliver to you a little bit about the industry and where we're going. I met him on Clubhouse. He's somebody that I admire in this space. Not only is he considerably somebody that a lot of people in agentic AI look up to, but he also runs Llama Lounge in Silicon Valley, which has the largest turn-up of investors, entrepreneurs, all to discuss the impact of agentic AI. Jeremiah, welcome.
Oh, it's so great to be here. Thank you. And I'm coming in I'm streaming live from the Airstream studios in the hills of Silicon Valley, where I've been for 27 years. So it's just a delight to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And before we get into it, why don't we kind of let everybody know a little bit about your history in Silicon Valley
Yeah.
and why you're one of the prominent figures in the agentic AI space?
Well, I don't consider myself prominent. I love to serve the community. My main thing, and you saw this in Clubhouse, is all about community, bringing people together, learning together. I host events for 300 founders and VCs and corporate AI leaders together at Llama Lounge. I'll show you some photos in a sec. I host events for agentic founders, even next week called the Agentic Congress, even smaller events, intimate events. And I just like to bring people together, figure out who the top leaders are, and then I give them money. I'm an investor. That's my day job. And so it's just great that I can tie all of those things together. So I have been here since .com, Web 2, sharing economy, Web 3, social audio when we were all locked away in our homes, or Airstreams during the pandemic. And I was glad to make friends with you. And here we are in AI.
We are. Thank goodness for those audio spaces that we all held. And then obviously everything moved across to X, which back then was Twitter, I believe. But before we dive into it, I had so much fun at the recent Llama Lounge event that I had the chance to, before I flew back out to Australia to do my visa, but fun at Llama Lounge, which was hosted at AWS. Do you want to? Thought it was an interesting way to have entrepreneurs engaging with investors, and I've not seen it done before.
Thank you. Llama Lounge had humble beginnings. We were at a pizza shop on 9th and Market called Sunset Squares. And for several events back in 2023, May, that's when I started the event series, people would come together and we'd talk about AI. And I noticed that people started to pull out their laptops. I was like, what are you guys doing? They're like, we're doing demos. I was like, well, that's a good idea. We should have a sign-up form. So the next time we had a sign-up form, people signed up, and then I brought a little stand and I put it on this, like the pizza stands, and then I put their name on it. We wrote it on, and then it just grew and grew and grew. And since then, Llama Lounge has grown into one of the largest, longest running generative AI events in the world. So we've been hosted at Amazon Web Services, SAP, Capgemini. We'll be at Microsoft in the fall. The next event is going to be at Stanford. We're talking to Zoom. We're about to make that announcement in San Jose. So the world's biggest companies want to host the event. And the format is 10 AI founders are selected to demo. Yeah. And then there's usually 300 total attendees, and around 50 VCs show up, and around 25 corporate AI leaders, like head of AI or product managers. And so we bring the whole ecosystem together into one place. Again, community is one of my superpowers, and I just love to do that.
It's so important. I also love the fact that you get, instead of just doing big, broad demos, you have each of the founders, we certainly did in the last and first that I've attended, get up and present their business. What's the time? How long do they have to jump on stage and talk about themselves?
And they work so hard to perfect it. They have 30 seconds. It's kind of like
30
that
seconds.
Eminem song, like you got one shot, right? Throwing up mom's spaghetti. Like that's
Yeah.
it. You got to nail it. They hire PR pros, they rehearse.
Yeah.
And also one other thing that I'm proud of that we do is we want to make sure that there's room for female founders. So out of
Yeah.
the 10 demo
Mm.
slots, we exclusively reserve 3 slots minimum for women. Usually we're at 4 or 5 at parity, but we actually have to reach out and pull them in. So it's just been a challenge. And I think that's something important. We'll continue to do that.
So amazing. Thank you so much for today. The stage is all yours, and we will be back on after your presentation. Thanks.
Great. So let's go ahead and kick on my slides. So let's make sure that you can see in full screen mode and let me know if you can. All right, it sounds like we're good. All right, I'm so excited to present about the AI agent business models. I'll show you some definitions, some of the ways they're working together, the ecosystem. I'll show you a map and we'll do a forecast. And then I think we're going to have some chat afterwards and you can reach out to me. So you probably know this term B2C, business to consumer, business to customer. You know that term, business to business. So what about that term? Well, that's what's coming in the future. Business talking to agents. Whose agents? Our agents, our AI agents that represent us, that are going to do the research and find information and complete tasks and even do shopping on our behalf, or organizing our trip, or organizing our email inbox. It will do the things for us. Also, consumers will talk to agents as well. All of us will have our own agent or agents. That's a topic we can have after on how many you think there will be in your life. I have some perspectives, but I don't fully know. And then also, the agents will talk to each other. Whoa, agent to agent. And that's a whole model we need to think about and plan for, which leads to this really crazy acronym business to agent to agent to agent to agent when they start to talk to each other. I guess we could probably have a C in there as well, right? To just show how it's all intermixed. But the majority of transactions that are happening on the internet right now are being done by humans. In the near future, most of the transactions or website visits, clicks, purchases will be done by agents. The way we think of the internet and apps, mobile apps, and enterprise software is about to radically change because of the agentic software. Hey everybody, that's me. I'm Jeremiah. So my day job is I lead the AI fund at Blitzscaling Ventures. Blitzscaling is based off the famous book Blitzscaling, written by Reid Hoffman and my friend Chris Ye for 20 years. In fact, they taught the Stanford class in 2015 and they decided to figure out what makes Silicon Valley the place for the world's largest tech companies. And they found out it was about network effects and viral effects. And that's the summary of the book. So I am looking for startups that fit that thesis. I have a background in enterprise, Exodus, Hitachi Data Systems. I was a CMO at a Web3 company. But before that, I worked at Forrester Research, if you've heard of Gartner, IDC, and I would forecast tech trends. I was literally trained on how to forecast what's going to happen next in tech. So it kind of made sense that I'd shift into investment mode. I'm applying capital based upon my forecast now. I also was a co-founder at a research firm called Altimeter Group with some other famous analysts. And that led me to become an angel investor. And I'm an LP in some funds and now the GP. So that's my background here in Silicon Valley for 27 years. This is a photo of Llama Lounge. Whoa, look at all of those beautiful faces. Founders fly in from all over the world. Yes, Australia, thank you. But also on the left-hand side, yeah, I can see my friend from Dubai. A majority of the founders are from the States and North America. The second largest group is from Europe. And people fly in, they adjust their schedules. They already have meetings with investors or they're going to make it happen because it's all about community. And this was in Palo Alto last year. And by the way, I do something completely ridiculous at the start of each event. So in the San Francisco Bay Area, there are 100 AI events per month. 100. That means there's about 5 per day. So what I do is to make sure that our events not only are large, but also high quality, but unique. So if you see me in the front, I'm wearing a maroon shirt. What I do at the start of each event is I I do the conch call. I actually use the conch and I make the sound. I actually have a background in performance art, so I'm able to do that. And everybody knows the event is going to start. The pitches are going to happen. The energy and the hype is like very excited. People are ready to network. We've hosted a number of those events. So Llama Lounge 17 will be in April at Stanford. So we've done quite a few of those events. Now, how big is this agentic market? Well, this is data from Crew AI on the market. And last year, it was estimated that the market size was 5 billion. And then every 5 years, it's expected to grow at a 10x approximate valuation as it starts to spread through corporations and then through consumer software. I think that's even a conservative estimate. And so you can see it's going to balloon up to the ranges of 100 to 500 billion. Now, you're probably wondering what the heck is an AI agent? Wouldn't it be useful if there was a definition? Now, rather than me pulling a definition out of my backside, I actually have a definition based on research. Now, I told you prior, I worked at Forrester Research and I started a research firm. I actually have a background in market research. And so what I did is I interviewed the actual people who are building it. Doesn't that make sense? So I interviewed 23 agent founders and the VCs who are backing them to come up with this definition. AI agents are autonomous software that can perceive the environment around them. They can make decisions. They conduct actions based upon the goals that they see, and they can learn and adapt over time. So they're not dumb scripts. They're not dumb manufacturing robots that do one thing over and over. They look around, or they hear, or they read, they think about what to do, come up with different plans, they go complete them, they evaluate did they do a good job, and then they improve over time. It's like they're living creatures. Now, some of the features that they have or attributes is they can access memory, maybe personal data or corporate data. They can determine that plan of action. They can have verifications and identity. They can complete multi-step actions. Right now, most of them are single step, and they can improve. Here's some examples. In your home life, you might have an agent determine your meals for the week and make sure that you have the right items in your refrigerator, or order them or pre-order them or order them hot for you. For your communications, maybe they're going to read your emails, triage, sort, give you a summary, and start to do responses for you. Wouldn't that be nice? Imagine we actually get to inbox zero every day with nothing being missed. At work, they may gather data from disparate sources, put together a report, and present that for you so you don't have to run around and fill in those monthly reports. And then in the physical world, when you see a self-driving car, which are aplenty in San Francisco, those are physical manifestations of AI agents. Now, in the advanced set, the agents will actually recruit, build, or hire other agents like managers, and they'll start to orchestrate them and coordinate that. So that's on the horizon of what's about to come. So I hope that's a real useful version of the definition examples of what an agent actually is from the real builders, not me. All right. Now, this leads to our investment thesis at Blitzscaling Ventures. And just to remind, Reid Hoffman is our special advisor. In fact, he reviews the deals before I invest, and we're investing his money. He's a limited partner. So we have a huge advantage that we have Mr. Hoffman tied to our firm. So here's our thesis in the way we think about the agentic market. Right now, most of the people on the internet are the ones that are traversing the internet and clicking through things. And we're going to different websites and apps to get information and complete tasks. It's slow, it's painful, it kind of sucks. In the future, we don't have to do that. AI agents will go to apps and enterprise apps and consumer apps and websites and bring all of that information to us. That's a big change. We don't have to visit all those websites. We don't need 80 apps on our phone. That's the average amount of apps you have, by the way. We don't need that. We just need a few apps and a few interfaces. Okay, so that's thesis one. And thesis two is this. This one shocks people. Here we go. The agent will reassemble the information in the way that you want. So this means if you like text, great. You like video, great. That's the way you'll receive it. You want a short amount, you want a long amount, that's up to you. You want it multimedia, you want it in the morning, you want it in the evening, you get to choose. So it means that the information layer, the data layer, is going to decouple from the presentation layer across every website, every consumer app, and every enterprise app. That is a significant change. It also means we don't have to see advertisements ever again. Whoa, that's kind of a problem for some companies, by the way. Let's take a look at some examples. So we are so proud to invest in Crew AI, which is having explosive growth. Crew AI's open source enterprise agentic software where thousands of developers are using the templates or creating templates, and they are accessing the docs, and 50% of the Fortune 500 corporations in the world have already integrated Crew AI. In fact, they just did an announcement this morning with Hewlett Packard Enterprise, HPE. So they're just growing at a very fast clip, and they were partnered with NVIDIA at the GTC conference last week. And this team is moving very fast. How fast? The company is only, this is gonna blow your socks off. Get ready. The company's 15 months old. 15 months old and already in 50% of the Fortune 500. That's incredible growth. And companies are using these tools to automate, streamline, and complete tasks across multiple business units. It's happening at a rapid pace. There's other players in the space as well, but I looked at many of them. This is the one that we bet on. Okay. Also, let's take a look at Skyfire. Remember in my opening slides, I showed you those acronyms, and one of them was agent to agent, A to A. Well, in the future, agents are going to complete many of the financial tasks on our behalf. Don't worry, don't worry. You still get to review. You still get to review before the transaction happens. But if it's something really simple that you don't care about, like a micro transaction, which is just a few pennies, or maybe shopping for your toiletries and soap, stuff you already know the brand that you want, yeah, you're going to have an agent do all that for you. So Skyfire does two things. One, they have an agent identity where every agent will have an associated identity that it's tied to you. Let's use Haley, for example. So Haley, you'll have an agent that represents you, and you can choose on how much information it should share about you. Maybe it'll say, I represent a human that's verified, or maybe I represent a human with great credit score, ready to buy a potential vehicle, a car, or maybe I want to say I am an AI agent that represents you, your first and last name with credit score. It's up to you to determine that, and it will go out and shop for you. Secondly, the other feature that Skyfire has is it will do these transactions, the financial transactions. We're anticipating that many of the new transactions will be microtransactions, too small for a credit card. So they'll be using stable coins, and they're already backed by MasterCard and Coinbase. So you can see how this is lining up. Now, many other companies like HubSpot have moved into the agent space. We also saw that they launched agent.ai, which is a marketplace for small businesses to get agentic features integrated into their CRM system. For example, you can see here in this marketplace, company research agent, or a meme maker, or a LinkedIn post generator, or competitive analysis. And there's hundreds of other agents you can grab and integrate into your system. So HubSpot's already on it. Salesforce is pushing as well. And then the big tech companies, right, in addition to medium-sized businesses and enterprise as well, Google doesn't want to be left behind. So they launched Mariner, which is an AI agent embedded into the Chrome browser. And then also OpenAI has announced that they have Operator, which will use its own browser to conduct and complete tasks for you. So you can see this trend. It's happening from enterprise, small business, as well as big tech. Here it comes. Agents are going to become the norm. Now, this leads to a very interesting thought, like what does this market actually look at? So given my background in market research, I created a map, and I'm going to be your tour guide today to walk you through this map. So this is based upon interviews with the actual builders in the space. I didn't just pull this out of my backside. We talked to them, we interviewed them, I ran this by them, I got their input, and it's probably outdated because I published it in September last year. We're in March 2025, but I will be updating it on a occasional basis when it makes sense. But I think the basic framework, data layer, management layer, app layer, and ecosystem layer is probably right. Won't change too much. I do see a future market where it's going to connect to. I'll talk about that maybe at the end. So at the very bottom layer, the most important layer is the data layer. Where are the agents getting data? and they're getting it from exclusive data sources. By the way, it's estimated that 80% of the world's data is behind a firewall, a personal cloud, a corporate cloud, a military cloud, a government cloud. We don't know really how much data this is, and we'll never know. It's a lot of it is secret. And then secondly is from the open public data, like scraping websites or a Wikipedia or accessing an LLM. We're also experiencing a demand for potentially standard APIs of this data. And that's actually why I lead the AI Congress events just for the founders in a private setting. The next one is Monday in San Francisco, and that's limited to 50 founders only. At the next level is the management layer. Now, each of these are software categories, and each little dash line or the bullet line represents a whole class of software, and there are a few to several startups in each one of these dashes. So this just right here, this represents maybe 50 startups. Okay. So there's agent permissions and security. We talked about the need for ensuring that the agent is trustworthy. So there's a term that's originated called KYA. Now, you probably heard of KYC, know your customer. Now, there's a new term called know your agent to make sure that it's actually verified. We just talked about that use case with Haley. And they would have tiered credentials and they would have the capabilities to conduct tasks. What kind of tasks? Access your email, access your calendar, access your credit card, access your bank account, access your Visa or anything that's your Amazon account, whatever's really important to you to complete transactions. So we need to make sure that there's security and trust in that box. Now, over to the right, we have the management layer. And this is how you orchestrate many different agents that are working for you, or if you're at a corporation, it could be thousands or millions. And by the way, some of these agents could emerge for a few hours, then disappear, never to be seen again. That's possible. And some may be permanent forever, right? And also we need to determine if we all have thousands of agents running around completing tasks for every potential human, we need a way to determine who gets priority. And this is why we're seeing agent arbitration. Next is the payments layer. We already talked about Skyfire, and then improvement. They learn over time, and we're also seeing startups like Coval that are doing simulation, and they can improve. This category has the most startups. These are the agent app players. And on the left-hand side are the vertical agents. We're seeing agents for consumer, HR, recruiting, customer care, marketing, health, personal health, medical agents that control robots, like this, every single industry vertical, every geography and language, every culture, I'm seeing startups in the agentic side. So that's happening already. And essentially they're replacing the repeated tasks that humans do with AI agents. And then over time, they become more sophisticated and complete multitask as well. Now, on the right-hand side are horizontals. These are agent platforms. The leader in the enterprise space is clearly Crew AI, and they compete with LangChain as an example, who makes LangGraph. And then there's numerous other platforms as well. I think that by the end of this year, I will be adding in numerous big tech companies like OpenAI, Anthropic, as well as Google, Microsoft into that category. Now, at the top layer are the marketplaces. So developers are creating agents, which you can buy and use, and there needs to be some interop. And we're seeing this as just like you can think about an app exchange or an app platform. Now we're going to see an agent platform or agent marketplace or agent exchange where you can find and hire agents right out of the box to do things for you. Now, in the future, of course, many of these agents will be created by agents. So that's going to create an interesting wrinkle on where are these things coming from. So that's the space. That is the map. That is the ecosystem right now. This is probably out of date already, but it gives us a good overview of this market. Now, if you're planning to be in this market, whether you're a corporate leader or whether you're a founder, or maybe you're a consumer, you need to understand this map because it tells you how to deploy and how to think about the space in a strategic way. All right. Now, Gartner, let's talk about the impacts of all of this. Gartner forecasts that search engine traffic, I assume they're talking about Google, is going to decline by 25% by the end of this year. Because people are going to use agents to get information, or they're going to use OpenAI or Perplexity or Claude right? That is pretty serious. That is absolutely a major risk for Google. All right. And it also, Bill Gates said that whoever wins the personal agent, that's the big thing, because you will never go to a search site again. You'll never go to a productivity site again. And you'll never go to Amazon.com again because the agent will do that for you. So think about all of the business models that are about to unwind because of agentic software. It is quite serious. This is the biggest change I've seen in tech. And I've been here in Silicon Valley for 27 years. This is a big change. Now, this actually means that the way that we make decisions, and I'm closing things up now, and I'll do this and then a summary. The way that we make decisions is radically going to change. So this is the way that we make decisions every day. There's like awareness we have a problem and awareness that we have a solution. We engage with a website or an app. We actually will think about the different things. We'll weigh them out together. We'll compare things, whether it's a high consideration product like a car, house, a job, or travel plans, or low consideration, like it's buying toilet paper or determining which instant coffee you're going to have delivered to your house. And then finally, you make that purchase. And often the purchases or the call to action are in different websites or apps. It's all disjointed. And that is not a great user experience. In fact, Google is really not a great experience, Google search, because they already know the answers, but they choose not to give it to you. Instead, they serve up ads, right? It's very clear that the site is built for advertisers more so than consumers. But now that all has to change, because in the near term, we are already asking AI for help. I use OpenAI, I use Claude, I'm obviously using Google Gemini as well. And I ask it, what are the answers to these questions? And it comes in one place, sans advertisements. And the humans can ask the AI to compare the products or go get pricing. Now, what happens is it breaks down at the bottom layer. So there's no e-commerce in these apps yet. By the end of this year, we should see e-commerce call to actions ready to go in agents and foundational models. That's going to happen because there's trillions of dollars at stake. Excuse me, I'm a little stuffed up from allergies. It is hay fever season. And in the midterm, AI is going to be proactive. It's going to understand what our needs are because it's reading our emails, our text messages, if you allow it. And then it can understand what are your needs. It might dialogue with you, find out more, and it might do some comparison pricing and shopping. And this could be B2B as well. You need to get some new expense software for your company. It's going to try to understand those needs and source all that out. And it means that the AI agent is going to guide you to the market. Now, I think in the most sophisticated sense, I want my agent to pre-deliver the toilet paper or the instant coffee to my house before I run out. That's the worst situation. You're on the toilet and you don't have toilet paper. I want my AI agent to make sure that never happens. All right. So that's an example of where we're headed with decision making. We're going to go from manual to hybrid to automated using agents and foundational models working together. And that leads to my conclusion today and a summary of, well, I gave you a lot of information. I can't wait to hear your comments and questions. But it means that AI agents will bring the information to humans in a centralized way, and the content will be delivered in the way that you want. Number two, media and revenue models are about to radically change. I made that point, and don't just listen to me. Gartner and Bill Gates said the same thing as well. Traditional companies are going to launch their own AI agents to interact with the consumer side agents. They'll also have an API. It'll be a lot more efficient. And then number four, inside of companies, we're going to see AI agents being our colleagues, not just our assistants. Some of us will report to AI agent managers. Does that seem far-fetched, by the way? Well, if you've ever taken an Uber, and I know you have, every single one of those drivers already reports to an AI agent for the last 10 years. So it's not crazy to think about. And by the way, there was a study that women actually had a higher degree to want an AI agent manager because then they'll finally be treated fairly. That was a study. And then partners and even your customers could be AI agents and even competitors, right? That's a wild thought, which leads to the final one. Now, this one's pushing the thinking. And I realize this is a little bit science fiction, but just come with me on this one. In the future, we're going to see a new type of organization emerge, which I call an autonomous organization that is run completely by AI agents. And we may not even know who created it, like Bitcoin. We just don't know. And it's able to generate its own revenue, improve, and it offers services that people buy or their agents buy. And this is a new organization that we haven't seen yet in humanity because it's not human, called an autonomous organization. So be ready for that change that's about to come. Well, I hope that was helpful. If you wanted my slides, you can grab this screenshot right here, or you can open your phone and it'll take you to a Google form where you'll get added to my newsletter, where twice a month, I don't spam you, I will share my insights on AI agents and you'll grab my slides that you just saw today. So thank you so much. I can't wait to hear your thoughts and questions.
Jeremiah, oh my goodness, what an amazing overview. I've heard this, I've seen some of your videos presenting this before, and each time I get something new out of it. So it's one of those clips I think somebody can watch over and over and over again.
Thanks.
For me personally, I can't wait for a personal agent. I would just love somebody to organize everything and deliver it to me in audio. I just want to wake up in the morning and have somebody summarize my emails and tell me where I should spend my time. So I hate seeing the red notifications, of which I have a lot in every single app and I never get through them. So that's what I'm excited about. What about you, Hallie?
Yeah, I mean, getting organized sounds awesome, but I know the entire infrastructure of the internet is going to change, but I can't help but think, like, how are these agents going to validate across platforms? How are we going to keep everything in one place? You mentioned earlier, we don't know where half of the data even goes. Well, are there going to be ways to control our own data or sell our own data and profit from that in a different way? So there's so many questions on the greater infrastructure of what will happen once even autonomous organizations come about, let alone the agents acting on their own representing you in their favor or your favor.
So true. So thank you so much for your time. We're a couple of minutes over starting our panel. Truly thankful. Please, everyone, connect with Jeremiah. He is amazing to follow. I love his newsletters. And if you get the chance, try to get to a Llama Lounge sometime this year. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. See you, everybody.